Welcome. Once again we will present a very short story, lasting a few minutes, but equally disturbing, and we will do it with a new drop of mystery to follow until the end. We will talk about the thrilling experience of the first Chinese astronaut. As with the Soviet Union and the United States, China's space program has a history that spanned decades of the past century, but due to failed or cancelled projects, China's space missions have suffered numerous postpones. Only in 1992, the 921 project was authorized and financed, which had as its objective to launch a man into orbit around the Earth. As with the Soviets and the Americans, several tests were done before putting a man inside a spaceship. In October 2003, the Shenzhou 5 successfully brought the first Chinese man into space, Colonel Yang Liwei. The astronaut remained in orbit for 21 hours, making China the third nation to send a man into the space. Liwei returned safely from the mission, but also disturbed by a creepy experience that took place in those hours in orbit. The space is not only a huge place, but also a silent place, because in the void, the absence of air, or any other substance capable of transmitting vibrations or sound waves, ensures that absolute silence reigns there among the stars. And this the astronauts know well. Inside a space module or the astronaut's helmet itself, it is all another story. Having its own atmosphere, even if restricted, sounds can be heard, which is obviously necessary for communication with the Earth or for the interpretation of sounds and alarms from the instrumentation. Actually, the training of astronauts leads them to be extremely familiar with the sounds audible inside their cabin during a mission. And they know very well that beyond the hull of the spacecraft there is nothing, except the silence of the void. For this reason, none of these space explorers would expect to hear a noise coming from outside the module. Instead, that was exactly what Yang Liwei experienced during his first mission. The Chinese astronaut said he heard a knock on the tailgate of his spacecraft, as if someone were asking for permission to board. These were his statements in a recent interview. The noise did not come from outside or from inside the spaceship, but it seemed that someone was knocking on the lining of the spacecraft like you could hit an iron bucket with a wooden hammer. When you are in space orbit, everything is a bit extraordinary, and hearing a knock on the door of the spacecraft is truly disturbing. Actually, the man, surprised by the sound and having a porthole available, decided to approach it in order to try to see the causes of this event, but unfortunately without detecting anything unusual beyond the metal coating. Once on the base, Mr. Liwei told the incident to the command of the Chinese mission, admitted he was frightened and that knocking made him very nervous. To facilitate investigations into the potential causes of those noises on the hull felt in orbit, the astronaut tried to replicate that sound, but by his own admission without ever succeeding. Yang Liwei, involved in training Chinese astronauts for subsequent missions, warned new crews of the possibility of hearing that sound once in space, which happened again in Shenzhou 6 and Shenzhou 7 missions. Chinese scientists ran through all the hypotheses, and the most logical was that of noises given by the contraction of the hull of the spacecraft due to changes in internal pressure. But many have thought of extraterrestrial entities, which, intrigued by a civilization at the beginning of space exploration, enjoyed playing like cat and mouse. What do you think about it? Write it down in a comment. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Mystery Iomba. Don't miss the next drops of mystery. Don't forget to share these fascinating stories with friends. See you at the next mystery.